Long ago, in a quiet village surrounded by tall forests and gentle rivers, people lived simple lives. The villagers farmed during the day and gathered around fires at night to tell stories. Among them was a kind couple, Mr. and Mrs. Audet. They had prayed for many years to have a child, but none came. Though their hearts were heavy, they never lost hope. One cool evening, the full moon shone brighter than ever before. The silver light covered the entire village like a soft blanket. Children ran outside, laughing and pointing at the sky. "Look how big the moon is tonight," they shouted. Even the elders came out of their huts to watch, for they had never seen such a glowing moon. As Mr. and Mrs. Audet sat outside their hut, they heard a soft cry, like that of a baby. "Do you hear that?" Mrs. Audet whispered. Her husband nodded, and together they followed the sound toward the forest edge. There, lying gently in a basket woven with shining white threads, was a baby boy. His skin glowed faintly, as if kissed by moonlight. His eyes were wide and bright, staring at them without fear. Mrs. Audet lifted the baby carefully. "Oh my!" she gasped. "He is so warm." Around his neck was a small silver pendant shaped like a crescent moon. The couple looked around, but no one was near. Who would leave a baby out here in the forest? Mr. Audet wondered. But Mrs. Audet pressed the baby to her chest and said, "No matter who he is, he needs love. Let's take him home." The villagers were shocked when they saw the glowing baby. Some whispered, "A spirit child." Others said, "Maybe the gods have blessed the Audet family." The village chief came and inspected the baby. This child came on a night when the moon was brighter than ever. "He shall be called Henry, the moon child," he declared. From that day, Henry became the couple's son. He grew quickly, and everyone noticed that he was different. When he laughed, birds seemed to sing along. When he cried, the wind howled as if sharing his sadness. At night, he often sat outside, staring at the moon as if it were calling his name. As years passed, Henry became loved by many, but some feared his strange powers. One day, during a village festival, the moon suddenly appeared in the daytime sky, a rare and mysterious sign. At that moment, Henry fainted, and a soft light surrounded him. The villagers gasped. "The spirits are taking him," someone cried. But Henry opened his eyes slowly and whispered, "She is calling me." "Who is calling you, my son?" Mrs. Audet asked, frightened. Henry pointed to the moon high above. "Mother Moon," he said softly. That night, Mr. and Mrs. Audet watched Henry closely. He couldn't sleep. He kept looking through the window at the glowing moon. Deep inside, Henry knew that his true story was only beginning. The moon had given him life, and now it was calling him toward a destiny no one could yet understand. Henry grew taller and stronger with each passing year. He was kind, hard-working, and loved by many. He helped farmers in the fields, fetched water for elders, and played with the younger children. Yet, there was something about him that set him apart. His skin always held a faint glow, especially when the moon rose. At night, when everyone slept, Henry would sneak outside and talk to the moon as if it were a living being. "Why do you shine so brightly for me?" he whispered one night. A soft breeze brushed his cheeks as if answering him. Henry felt warmth in his heart whenever he spoke to the moon. Deep inside, he sensed that he did not fully belong to the village, though he loved his parents dearly. One evening, when Henry was 15, a great drought struck the village. The rivers began to dry, the crops wilted, and hunger grew. The villagers gathered at the village square, worried and tired. "We must ask the gods for rain," the chief said. "We will hold the rain festival tomorrow night." The rain festival was a special tradition. Drummers beat their drums, dancers spun in circles, and elders prayed for rain to return. But that night, something strange happened. As the people danced, a bright silver beam of light fell from the sky, landing on Henry. Everyone stopped dancing and stared. Henry froze, his heart pounding. The light wrapped around him gently, lifting his pendant into the air. The crescent moon on it began to shine brighter and brighter. "It's a sign," shouted one of the elders. "The spirits have chosen Henry." But not everyone was pleased. A jealous man named Oba, who always envied Henry's special gifts, stepped forward. "Why should we trust this glowing boy?" he shouted. "Perhaps he is the reason for the drought." Maybe he has angered the gods. The crowd murmured nervously. Henry felt hurt, but before he could speak, the sky rumbled, and a soft voice filled the air. Everyone fell silent. "Henry, my child, the time has come for you to know the truth," the voice said. The villagers looked around in fear. "Who is speaking?" Oba cried. But Henry recognized the voice. It was the same gentle presence he felt every night. "Mother Moon," he whispered. A silver figure appeared above the crowd, a woman made of moonlight. Her long flowing robes shimmered like water under the stars. She floated gracefully and looked down with kind eyes. "People of this village," she spoke, "do not be afraid. This boy is not a curse but a gift." She turned her gaze to Henry. "My son, long ago, a shadow spirit tried to steal the moon's light to cover the world in darkness. To protect it, I placed a piece of my light in the form of a child and sent him to Earth. That child is you, Henry. You are the Moon Child, guardian of light." Henry's knees grew weak. "I'm your child." "Yes," she said softly. "You were sent here to grow among humans and learn kindness, courage, and love. But now, the shadow spirit has awakened again. He is the reason for the drought. He steals life from the land, and only you can stop him." The villagers gasped. Oba stepped back, suddenly frightened. The Moon Woman continued, "To save your people, you must travel to the Forest of Echoes and find the Crystal Lake. There, your true power will awaken." Henry was silent for a long time. He loved the Ade family and the village. He didn't want to leave. Mrs. Ade rushed to him and held his hands tightly. "Henry, my son, you are special. We always knew it. Follow your path. We believe in you." Mr. Ade nodded firmly. "Go and protect us, son. The gods sent you for a reason." The Moon Woman slowly faded into the sky, leaving behind a trail of light that pointed toward the distant forest. The chief raised his staff. "The journey will be dangerous," he warned. "But we shall give you blessings and food. You must leave at sunrise." That night, Henry couldn't sleep. He sat by the window, staring at the moon. "Mother Moon," he whispered, "I am scared." The wind blew gently through the trees, and he heard her voice faintly, "You were born for this, my child. Trust the light within you." When morning came, the entire village gathered to see Henry off. The drummers played slowly, elders prayed, and children gave him flowers. Mrs. Ade hugged him tightly, tears shining in her eyes. "No matter where you go, you will always be our son," she said. Henry wore his glowing pendant proudly and carried a small bag of food. He looked back one last time at the village, then turned toward the dark forest ahead. Somewhere deep inside, he felt the pull of destiny guiding his steps. The journey of the moon. Henry entered the Forest of Echoes as the sun rose gently over the land. The trees were tall and ancient, their branches forming thick roofs that blocked most of the light. Strange birds called out from above, and the ground was covered in glowing flowers that lit his path. Although the forest was beautiful, it carried an air of mystery. Every sound seemed to follow him, and the wind whispered his name softly, "Henry! Henry!" He walked for hours, guided by the silver light from his pendant. Whenever he felt lost, the pendant glowed brighter, pointing the way. Suddenly, he heard a rustling behind him. He turned quickly to see a small fox, its fur shining like starlight. The fox bowed its head and then began to walk ahead, looking back to make sure Henry followed. Henry understood. It was sent by the moon. The fox led him through twisting paths until they reached a wide clearing. In the center stood the Crystal Lake, just as the Moon Woman had described. The water sparkled like a mirror, reflecting the sky perfectly. Henry knelt beside it and looked at his reflection. But instead of his face, he saw the Moon Woman smiling softly. "My son," her voice echoed from the water, "you have done well to come this far. The shadow spirit hides beneath this lake. To awaken your power, place your pendant into the water." Henry took a deep breath. He removed the glowing crescent pendant from his neck and lowered it into the lake. The moment it touched the water, a blinding silver light exploded upward, wrapping around his body. He gasped as warmth filled his chest. The light lifted him into the air. Symbols like stars spun around him, and the Moon Woman's voice grew stronger. You carry the light of the moon, Henry. Now let it shine fully. Henry's eyes turned silver. His clothes changed into a flowing robe of moonlight, and a staff of pure light appeared in his hands. He felt a power he had never known before, calm, bright, and strong. But the peace didn't last long. The lake suddenly darkened. A cold wind blew through the clearing, and the water began to boil. From the depths rose a tall, shadowy figure with red glowing eyes. Its voice was deep and harsh. "So, the moon has sent her child at last," it growled. "You are too late, boy. The drought will spread, and darkness will cover the land." Henry stood firm, though fear gripped his heart. "You are the shadow spirit. I will not let you harm my people," he declared. The spirit laughed. "You are just a boy playing hero. I will snuff out your little light." With a wave of its arm, black smoke shot toward Henry. But Henry raised his staff, and a wall of silver light formed, blocking the attack. The clash sent waves of energy through the forest. Trees shook. The fox hid behind a rock. Henry remembered the Moon Woman's words, "Trust the light within you." He closed his eyes, feeling the power of the moon in his heart. When he opened them, they glowed brighter. "I am the Moon Child," he shouted, "and light always defeats darkness." The battle raged fiercely. The shadow spirit sent storms of darkness, while Henry answered with beams of moonlight. They fought across the clearing, each strike lighting up the sky. The villagers, far away, saw flashes of silver and black in the sky and prayed for Henry's safety. At last, the shadow spirit grew furious. It gathered all its power into one massive black sphere. "This will end you," it roared, throwing it toward Henry. Henry didn't step back. He lifted his staff high, and the moon appeared above the lake, even though it was daytime. A beam of pure moonlight struck his staff. Henry shouted with all his strength and swung the staff forward. A powerful wave of silver light burst out, colliding with the dark sphere. There was a blinding explosion. When the light cleared, the shadow spirit was on its knees, shrinking and fading. "No, the light!" it whispered before vanishing into mist. The forest fell silent. Then the sky changed. Dark clouds drifted away, and gentle rain began to fall. The crystal lake sparkled again, brighter than ever. Henry lowered his staff, breathing hard, but smiling. He had done it. The fox ran to him and bowed. Henry looked up at the moon, which was faint but still visible in the daytime sky. He heard the Moon Woman's voice one last time. "Well done, my son. You have brought light and rain back to the land. Remember, you are both of the moon and of the earth. Your people need you." Henry returned to the village, where the people welcomed him with songs, dances, and tears of joy. The fields began to grow again, and the rivers filled with water. The drought was over. Oba, the jealous man, came forward and knelt. "Forgive me, Henry. I doubted you. You are truly a blessing." Henry lifted him up kindly. "Light is meant to be shared," he said. The chief declared a great feast in Henry's honor. But Henry remained humble. He continued to help the villagers as he always had, though now everyone knew he carried a great destiny within him. On quiet nights, Henry would still sit outside and look at the moon. He felt her warmth and guidance, knowing that she was always watching over him. The villagers often told their children, "Never fear the darkness, for the Moon Child walks among us, and the light will always return." And so, Henry's legend lived on for generations, the boy who came from the moon to bring light to the world.